Now coming to the question number 26, which was asked in the prelims 2023. The question here is, which of the following best describes the concept of small farmer, large field? Now before discussing this particular concept, let me tell you as to why this particular question was asked. This particular question was asked in the context of the government's initiative to organize the small and marginal farmers into what is called as farmer producer organizations. This is the first reason. Secondly, in Odisha, there was a pilot initiative which was in news. That pilot initiative is called as the small farmer large field. That is why this particular question was asked. So let's discuss the answer to this particular question. So when you look at Indian agriculture, depending upon the land holdings of the farmers are categorized into small, marginal and medium farmers. And as you can see, the marginal farmers are basically those farmers who are owning a agriculture land of less than 1 hectare. On the other hand, the small farmers own the agriculture land ranging from 1 to 2 hectares. If you look at the present status of Indian agriculture, it is being said that almost around 86% of farmers in India are small and marginal farmers. And these small and marginal farmers together own 48% of agricultural land, which basically goes on to highlight that the agriculture land in India is highly fragmented. And because of this fragmented land holding, the small and marginal farmers have got themselves into a kind of vicious cycle. What problems are they facing? First and foremost, the small and marginal farmers do not have access to inputs. Inputs such as credit, seeds, fertilizers, and so on. And if they're not having access to inputs, obviously the amount of investment in the agriculture sector will reduce. Secondly, since the land is quite fragmented, there is less scope for the small and marginal farmers to practice integrated farming. That is, it is difficult for the small and marginal farmers to grow multiple crops. It is difficult for small and marginal farmers to integrate livestock into the agriculture, because of which the yield of the agriculture land is quite lower. Thirdly, the overall marketable surplus of the small and marginal farmers is lower. Hence, when the small and marginal farmers go to sell the agriculture produce in the market, they have less bargaining power vis-a-vis traders, because of which they might not be able to get the benefit of MSP. Hence, in order to ensure that the income levels of the small and marginal farmers double, the government has come up with a very wonderful strategy called as FPO, Farmer Producer Organizations. As part of FPO, we are organizing small and marginal farmers into groups. When they are organized into groups, we will be able to reap higher economies of scale. How? For example, the farmers can pool in their fragmented land holdings. Once they pool in their fragmented land holdings, the farmers can practice or grow common crops. This is referred to as what is called as collaborative farming. So it is being said that if the small and marginal farmers practice collaborative farming, they will be able to reap higher economies of scale and we can increase their income levels. Now, for example, first and foremost, we will solve the problem of fragmented land holdings, which is one of the structural problem of Indian agriculture. If the farmers are growing common crops, all the farmers will have same inputs. So they can buy inputs in bulk. When they are buying inputs in bulk, obviously they will be able to buy the inputs at a lesser price. So the farmers will have access to inputs. Similarly, they can synchronize their agricultural operations such as sowing, harvesting, and so on, which leads to greater coordination. And once they harvest the agricultural produce, they would sell the agricultural produce in the market, but this time they have a higher marketable surplus. And because they have a higher market surplus, they will be able to get higher prices. So the basic idea is, even though the land in India quite be fragmented, if we organize the small and marginal farmers into groups, through higher economies of scale, we can increase the income levels. That is the basic concept. So this concept was applied as a pilot initiative in Odisha, and it is called as Small Farmer Large Field Pilot Initiative. In the context of this initiative, this question was asked in Prelims 2023. So, coming back to the question, if you read all the four options here, out of all the four options, the right answer happens to be B. That is, many marginal farmers in an area organize themselves into groups and synchronize and harmonize selected agricultural operations. So, as far as this particular question is concerned, if a particular student had a fundamental idea about the problems faced by marginal farmers, such a student would have applied the logic and got the right answer to this particular question.